The morning light cut through the toxic haze like a knife, casting long shadows across the fractured landscape of New Horizons colony. Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her environmental suit, the smart fabric rippling with adaptive camouflage patterns that blended into the ashen terrain. Each step kicked up microscopic particles that danced in the weak sunlight, remnants of what was once a thriving human settlement. 3 months had passed since the Xanthari attack, and the colony remained frozen in a moment of absolute devastation. Automated preservation protocols had locked the site, preventing any immediate cleanup or reconstruction. Elena's team was the first authorized archaeological and forensic investigation unit permitted to enter the restricted zone. Her augmented reality display flickered to life, projecting holographic data streams across her vision. Quantum-mapped terrain indicators highlighted the colony's original infrastructure: residential zones, scientific research centers, community spaces, now reduced to fragmented silhouettes of total destruction. The AR overlay revealed the brutal efficiency of the Xanthari assault. No building remained intact. No system survived. Processing Sector 7, Elena murmured into her comm unit, her voice calm despite the emotional weight of walking through a graveyard of human potential. Her research partner, Dr. Akira Nakamura, responded from the mobile research vehicle positioned half a kilometer away. Radiation levels are stable. Quantum interference patterns are unusual. Are you seeing this? Elena paused, her specialized scanning equipment sweeping across a particularly devastated section, near what had once been the colony's primary research complex. The ground here was different, not just destroyed, but transformed. Molecular structures showed signs of complex quantum reconfiguration that defied standard analysis protocols. Her fingers traced the outline of a partially melted research terminal, its circuits fused into bizarre crystalline formations. Standard xenorchaeological training suggested complete destruction. But something here felt different. Beneath layers of ash and molecular debris, there was a subtle resonance, a quantum signature that didn't match any known technological profile. "Akira," she called, her voice tight with excitement. "I need a full spectral and quantum-level scan of my current coordinates. Something isn't right." The research vehicle's advanced scanning systems hummed to life, probing the area with layers of sophisticated detection technologies. Quantum entanglement sensors, gravitational wave detectors, and multispectrum imaging systems worked in concert to penetrate the layers of destruction. Elena knelt, carefully brushing away a layer of ash. Her gloved hand revealed a fragment of technology that seemed to pulse with an almost imperceptible energy. It was no larger than a credit chip, its surface etched with intricate quantum circuitry that seemed to shift and change even as she observed it. "Negative on standard identification." Akira's voice crackled through the comm. "Whatever that fragment is, it's not registering in any of our databases. Quantum signature is adaptive. It's like the material is responding to observation." The fragment felt warm against her environmental suit's sensors, generating a minimal but consistent energy output. Most archaeological finds were inert, preserved but lifeless. This was different. This fragment seemed alive in a way that challenged everything Elena understood about technological preservation. A notification blinked across her AR display. Incoming transmission from United Planetary Research Coordination. Dr. Marcus Levinson, her primary research supervisor, appeared as a holographic projection, his expression a mixture of concern and intense curiosity. "Dr. Rodriguez," he began, "our initial satellite scans showed complete destruction. Your ground-level discovery suggests something more complex is happening. What are your preliminary observations?" Elena carefully placed the fragment into a quantum-sealed containment unit, her movements precise and measured. "Sir, we're looking at something beyond standard xenorchaeological recovery. The Xanthari attack wasn't just destruction. It was transformation." The holographic projection flickered, Marcus's avatar leaning forward with intense interest. "Transformation. Elaborate." "The molecular restructuring here doesn't follow any known technological paradigm," Elena explained. It's as if the destruction itself created something new, not just damage, but a fundamental reconfiguration of matter and energy. Outside the research vehicle, the landscape of New Horizons colony stretched out, a testament to total destruction. But within the quantum-sealed container, something remarkable was beginning. A fragment of technology that bore witness to humanity's darkest moment was about to become the key to its most extraordinary evolution. The first chapter of humanity's unexpected resistance was being written, one quantum particle at a time. The Mars Research Station's Quantum Forensics Laboratory hummed with an electric intensity that went beyond its usual state of scientific anticipation. Reinforced quantum-shielded containment chambers lined the walls, each designed to isolate and analyze the most complex and potentially dangerous technological artifacts humanity had ever encountered. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic projection of the fragment discovered in New Horizons colony, her team assembled around her. Dr. Akira Nakamura manipulated floating data streams, his fingers dancing through layers of quantum analysis. To her right, Dr. Samira Khan, a quantum biochemist with an unparalleled reputation for solving impossible technological puzzles, leaned forward with an expression of pure scientific fascination. "The fragment defies every standard classification method," Samira muttered, her augmented reality interface spinning complex molecular models around her. "Its quantum signature is not just adaptive, it's responsive. Look here." A three-dimensional model expanded, showing intricate quantum circuits that seemed to shift and reconfigure with each moment of observation. The circuitry moved like a living organism, responding to the very act of being studied. Akira zoomed in on a particular section. "These quantum pathways, they're not just circuits. They're more like biological neural networks, but constructed from technological materials." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The fragment represented something beyond current scientific understanding, a technological system that blurred the line between machine and living organism. "Quantum entanglement readings are off the charts," announced Dr. Marcus Levinson, joining the team via holographic transmission. His avatar flickered slightly, a testament to the intense quantum interference generated by the artifact. "Our initial containment protocols are barely maintaining stability." The laboratory's chief of security, Commander David Reyes, stood near the quantum-shielded containment chamber. His military background made him instinctively cautious, but even he couldn't hide his fascination. "We've analyzed fragments from multiple Xanthari attack sites," he interjected. "Nothing has ever shown this level of complexity." Elena zoomed the holographic display, revealing microscopic structures within the fragment that seemed to pulse with an internal energy. "This isn't just technology," she said softly. "This is something else entirely." A series of alarm indicators flashed across the laboratory's main display. The fragment was generating quantum resonance patterns that seemed to interact with the very materials around it. Containment chamber walls showed microscopic changes, molecular restructuring happening at an imperceptible scale. "It's communicating," Samira whispered, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and unease. "Not like any communication we've ever understood. These quantum pathways, they're trying to interface with our systems." Akira ran a series of rapid diagnostic protocols. "The fragment is generating quantum information transfer rates that exceed our most advanced computational systems by several orders of magnitude. It's not just storing information. It's processing, adapting, evolving." Commander Reyes stepped closer to the containment chamber. "Is it dangerous?" Elena's response was measured, not in the way we traditionally understand danger. It's more like a complex system seeking understanding. Our technology, our methods of observation, they're actually part of its adaptive process. The laboratory fell silent. What they were witnessing was beyond a technological discovery. This was a fundamental reimagining of the relationship between technology, observation, and adaptive systems. Dr. Levinson's holographic projection leaned forward. "We need to understand its origin. Every analysis suggests this fragment is a byproduct of the Xanthari attack, but it doesn't conform to any known synthetic technological principles. Samira began running complex simulation models. Holographic projections showed potential interaction scenarios between human cellular structures and the quantum fragment. The results were unexpected: points of resonance, adaptive interfaces that suggested a profound potential for integration. "Look at these cellular interaction models," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "The fragment doesn't just interact with technological systems. It shows potential integration points with biological systems, specifically human biological systems." The implications hung in the air like a tangible presence. This was more than a technological discovery. This was a potential key to understanding a completely new paradigm of existence. Elena studied the fragment, her mind racing with possibilities. The destruction of New Horizons colony was beginning to look less like an act of total annihilation and more like an unexpected catalyst for something unprecedented. "We're going to need volunteers," she said quietly. "Individuals willing to help us understand what this fragment truly represents." The first chapter of humanity's most extraordinary scientific journey was about to begin. The Adaptive Human Potential Research Center occupied a heavily secured facility deep within the Martian underground. Sterile white corridors contrasted sharply with the raw, unfinished rock of the cavern walls, a metaphor for the cutting edge of human scientific exploration. Captain Marcus Chen sat in the preliminary assessment chamber, his muscular frame tense beneath the lightweight medical monitoring suit. Survivor of the New Horizons colony attack, he represented more than just a potential test subject. He was a symbol of human resilience, someone who had lost everything and was now willing to risk everything. Dr. Elena Rodriguez reviewed the final pre-treatment assessment with Dr. Samira Khan. The holographic displays surrounding them showed Marcus's complete medical history: physical trauma, psychological evaluations, genetic profile. Each data point told a story of survival. "Cellular compatibility is critical," Samira muttered, manipulating complex molecular models. "The quantum fragment shows unprecedented adaptive potential, but human biological systems are notoriously complex." Elena nodded, her eyes never leaving Marcus's profile. "He understands the risks. Complete neural and biological reconstruction is a theoretical possibility. We could be looking at the first true human quantum interface." Marcus listened to their discussion, his expression calm. Years of military training had prepared him for uncertainty. Losing his entire colony to the Xanthari attack had stripped away fear, replacing it with a profound sense of purpose. "Ready when you are, doctors," he said quietly. The treatment chamber was a marvel of technological precision. Quantum resonance generators surrounded a central medical pod, each system calibrated to nanometer-level accuracy. Dr. Khan initiated the preliminary quantum alignment protocols. "Initiating quantum fragment integration sequence," she announced. Her fingers danced across holographic control interfaces, activating layers of complex scientific instrumentation. The first phase was subtle. Microscopic quantum carriers, derived from the fragment discovered in New Horizons, began to interface with Marcus's cellular structure. Monitoring systems tracked every minuscule change: neural pathways, cellular membranes, quantum information transfer. Marcus felt nothing at first. Then a warmth began to spread through his body. Not painful, but profound. Like electricity without shock, like awareness expanding beyond physical limitations. "Quantum resonance increasing," Akira reported from the monitoring station. "Cellular adaptation rates exceed all predictive models. Neural pathway reconfiguration is unprecedented." Elena watched the data streams with a mixture of scientific excitement and deep human concern. Each moment revealed something extraordinary. The quantum fragment wasn't just integrating with Marcus's biological systems, it was engaging in a complex dialogue, a mutual adaptation. Neurological scans showed dramatic changes. Neural connections formed and reformed at impossible speeds. Cognitive processing centers expanded, creating new pathways of thought and perception that went beyond standard human capabilities. "Synaptic plasticity is off the charts," Samira whispered. He's not just healing. He's evolving. Marcus's body began to change subtly. Muscle density increased. Cellular regeneration accelerated. But more importantly, his awareness shifted. He could suddenly perceive quantum information streams, subtle communication channels that existed beyond normal human perception. "I can see differently," Marcus said, his voice slightly distant. "Not just with eyes, with something else, something between thought and perception." The medical team exchanged looks of astonishment. This was more than a medical treatment. This was a fundamental reimagining of human potential. Commander David Rice watched from a secured observation room, his military pragmatism warring with scientific curiosity. If these initial results held true, everything would change. Military strategy, technological development, human understanding of consciousness. Nothing would remain the same. Hours passed. Marcus underwent a transformation that defied medical understanding. His body became a living laboratory, each moment revealing new dimensions of human adaptability. Quantum fragment integration at 73.6%, Akira reported. Biological systems are not just accepting the technology, they're collaborating with it. Elena understood the profound implications. The Zentheri attack, intended as total destruction, had instead created something unexpected. A pathway to human evolution that no one could have predicted. As the first treatment concluded, Marcus opened his eyes. They were the same deep brown as before, but something had changed. A subtle energy seemed to flow around him, a quantum resonance that suggested something extraordinary was just beginning. "How do you feel?" Elena asked. Marcus smiled, a smile that held the promise of humanity's most remarkable journey. Like everything is possible. Research stations across the solar system transformed into crucibles of human innovation. What had begun as a singular experiment with Captain Marcus Chen became a coordinated global effort to understand and weaponize the quantum fragment technology. The United Planetary Research Coordination established 6 primary research centers, each focusing on a different aspect of quantum adaptation. Luna Station handled biological integration protocols. Mars Research Center explored technological interfaces. Titan Station investigated quantum communication systems. Europa Base studied adaptive computational models. Ganymede Facility focused on energy transfer and quantum resonance. The Centauri Research Outpost, humanity's most advanced deep space research station, worked on potential interstellar applications. Dr. Elena Rodriguez found herself at the center of this unprecedented collaborative effort. Her discovery had become the cornerstone of humanity's most ambitious scientific undertaking. "We're not just studying technology," she explained during a global research conference. Her holographic presentation filled conference rooms across human-controlled space. "We're exploring a fundamental reimagining of human potential." The conference hall on Mars buzzed with a mixture of scientific excitement and military pragmatism. Representatives from research institutions, military strategists, and political leaders listened intently. Dr. Samira Khan presented the first comprehensive analysis of the quantum fragment's capabilities. Holographic models demonstrated how the technology could potentially interface with existing human systems, from medical technologies to computational networks, from energy production to space exploration infrastructure. "The quantum fragment doesn't just enhance existing technologies," Samira explained. "It creates a dynamic, adaptive system that learns and evolves with each interaction." Commander David Rice represented the military perspective. His presentation detailed potential defensive and offensive applications. The quantum technology offered something beyond traditional weapon systems, a fundamentally new approach to technological adaptation. "Imagine a defensive system that doesn't just respond to threats," Rice said, "but anticipates and neutralizes them before they fully form." The research teams worked across unprecedented lines of collaboration. Biological researchers worked alongside quantum physicists. Military strategists collaborated with computational experts. The quantum fragment had created something more than a technological breakthrough. It had become a catalyst for human unity. Captain Marcus Chen became a critical part of this research. His body had become a living laboratory, demonstrating capabilities that challenged everything humanity understood about biological and technological limitations. In the Ganymede facility, Marcus participated in advanced integration trials. Quantum sensors mapped his enhanced neural pathways. His ability to process and interact with technological systems went far beyond initial expectations. "It's not about augmentation," Marcus explained during one research session. "It's about communication. The quantum technology doesn't just improve human capabilities. It creates a dialogue between biological and technological systems." Early trials showed remarkable results. Experimental quantum adaptive medical technologies could heal injuries almost instantaneously. Computational systems developed unprecedented problem-solving capabilities. Energy production technologies became more efficient by orders of magnitude. But challenges remained. The quantum fragment's adaptive nature meant each integration was unique. What worked for Marcus might not work identically for another subject. Each trial required careful, precise monitoring. Dr. Akira Nakamura led a team developing quantum adaptive computational models. Their goal was to create systems that could learn and evolve as dynamically as the quantum fragment demonstrated. "We're moving beyond traditional programming," Akira explained. "These are living systems that learn, adapt, and grow with each interaction." The global research effort worked against an unspoken deadline. Everyone understood that the Zen theory might return. The quantum fragment technology represented humanity's best hope for survival, and potentially for something more profound. Elena watched the collaborative efforts with a sense of awe. The destruction of New Horizons colony, a moment of total devastation, had become the catalyst for humanity's most extraordinary scientific journey. During a late-night strategy meeting, Dr. Levinson summarized their progress. "We're not just developing a technology," he said. "We're exploring a new way of understanding human potential." The research stations continued their work. Each day brought new discoveries, new challenges, new possibilities. The quantum fragment, a remnant of destruction, was becoming the key to humanity's most remarkable evolution. Outside the research facilities, across human-controlled space, a sense of hope began to grow. Something extraordinary was taking shape, something that would change everything. The first warning came from the Quantum Communication Network, a subtle resonance that rippled through the solar system's defensive grid. Captain Marcus Chen was conducting a routine training exercise near the asteroid belt when the alien signature first appeared. "Incoming quantum disturbance," his neural interface reported, the information flowing directly into his consciousness with a clarity that would have been impossible months earlier. The space around him seemed to shimmer, quantum sensors detecting something beyond traditional electromagnetic scanning. Aboard the United Planetary Defense Command Station, alarms erupted into a cacophony of technological warning systems. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Commander David Rice stood in the Central Command Center, their faces illuminated by holographic threat displays. "Zen theory signature confirmed," the primary quantum communications officer announced. Her voice remained calm, but a tremor of anticipation ran through the command center. This was the moment they had prepared for and feared. Marcus's modified defensive vessel moved with a fluidity that defied traditional space combat protocols. The quantum adaptation allowed him to perceive multiple potential attack vectors simultaneously, his enhanced cognitive systems processing information at speeds that would have been impossible for an unmodified human. "They're using a standard containment formation," Marcus reported, his neural link transmitting data directly to the command center. "But something's different. Their approach doesn't match previous attack patterns." The Zen theory vessels emerged from quantum space, massive constructs of technological complexity that had previously represented total technological superiority. Sleek, angular ships that had brought destruction to human colonies now faced something entirely unexpected. Elena watched the tactical displays, her breath catching. The quantum fragment technology had transformed humanity's defensive capabilities in ways they were about to test in real time. Each human-modified vessel carried the adaptive technology developed from the fragment discovered in New Horizons colony. Quantum resonance systems online. Commander Reyes called out. Adaptive defense protocols initializing. The first wave of Xanthari weapons discharge should have been devastating. Quantum-based energy weapons that had previously obliterated entire human settlements now encountered something entirely new. The human defensive vessels didn't just defend. They engaged in a dynamic, adaptive dance of technological interaction. Marcus's vessel moved in ways that defied traditional space combat mechanics. Where previous human ships would have attempted to dodge or shield, his ship seemed to anticipate and neutralize threat vectors before they fully formed. The quantum adaptive systems created a living, breathing defensive network. Their weapon systems are being systematically neutralized, the tactical analysis officer reported, disbelief evident in her voice. It's like our ships are learning and adapting in real time. The Xanthari commanders would later describe the encounter as something beyond warfare. Their most advanced technological systems encountered human vessels that didn't just resist. They engaged in a form of technological communication that the alien civilization had never encountered. Quantum communication channels began to open, not through traditional communication protocols, but through a complex, adaptive interface that challenged the very concept of interspecies communication. We're receiving quantum information streams, Alina called out. They're not just transmitting. They're trying to understand. Marcus experienced the encounter differently. Through his enhanced neural interface, he could perceive the Xanthari vessels not as separate entities, but as part of a complex quantum information network. Each weapon discharge, each defensive maneuver became a form of communication. The battle, if it could be called a battle, lasted less than 17 minutes. Traditional military engagement had been replaced by something more profound. The Xanthari vessels began to withdraw, their complex technological systems overwhelmed by an adaptive response they couldn't comprehend. They're retreating, Commander Rice said, a mixture of awe and disbelief in his voice. But Alina understood something more important. This wasn't just a defensive victory. This was first contact of a fundamentally new kind. As the Xanthari vessels began to withdraw, Marcus transmitted a final quantum communication. Not a threat, not a declaration of victory, but an invitation to understand. The quantum fragment discovered in the ruins of New Horizons colony had transformed from a remnant of destruction into humanity's most extraordinary communication tool. In the command center, a profound silence descended. They had not just survived. They had fundamentally changed the nature of interstellar interaction. The asteroid belt became more than a battlefield. It transformed into a canvas of unprecedented interstellar communication. United Planetary Research Coordination established a dedicated analysis team to study the quantum interaction patterns from the recent encounter. Dr. Elena Rodriguez found herself at the epicenter of humanity's most complex scientific endeavor, surrounded by holographic displays that map the intricate quantum communication streams. This isn't just a technological exchange, she explained during an emergency global conference. We're witnessing a fundamental reimagining of interspecies interaction. The quantum data streams captured during the brief encounter revealed layers of complexity that challenged everything humanity understood about communication, technology, and consciousness. Where traditional first contact scenarios anticipated linguistic or technological barriers, this interaction existed in a realm beyond conventional understanding. Dr. Samira Khan's preliminary analysis showed something extraordinary. The Xanthari vessels hadn't simply been defeated. They had been engaged in a complex quantum dialogue that went beyond traditional concepts of warfare or diplomacy. Look here, Samira pointed to a particularly intricate quantum signature. These communication patterns suggest a form of mutual information exchange. It's as if our quantum adaptive systems created a bridge of understanding that transcends technological limitations. Captain Marcus Chen's neural logs provided the most fascinating insights. His enhanced perception had captured the encounter not as a conflict, but as a profound moment of potential connection. The quantum fragment technology had transformed human perception in ways that went far beyond physical augmentation. It wasn't about winning, Marcus explained during his debriefing. It was about communication. Our systems were simultaneously defending and attempting to understand. The Xanthari response came unexpectedly, not through traditional communication channels, but through quantum information streams that penetrated human monitoring systems. It wasn't a message in any traditional sense, more a complex mathematical and quantum-based representation of their perspective. Research teams worked around the clock to interpret these quantum communication streams. Each analysis revealed new layers of complexity. The Xanthari weren't just a technologically advanced civilization. They represented a fundamentally different approach to existence. Commander David Reyes oversaw the strategic implications. Military protocols gave way to something more nuanced. We're not preparing for potential conflict, he told the Planetary Defense Council. We're establishing a framework for mutual understanding. Quantum communication centers were established across human-controlled space. Luna Station became the primary hub, with teams of linguists, quantum physicists, mathematicians, and communication specialists working to decode the intricate quantum information patterns. Dr. Akira Nakamura developed advanced quantum translation algorithms that went beyond traditional communication models. These weren't just translation systems, they were adaptive interfaces that could potentially bridge fundamentally different forms of consciousness. The quantum fragment technology continued to reveal unexpected capabilities. Research stations reported spontaneous adaptive responses in their monitoring systems. Technologies began to develop predictive capabilities that seemed to anticipate challenges before they fully formed. It's like our entire technological infrastructure is learning, Alin observed during a late-night strategy session, not just adapting, learning. Weeks passed. The initial encounter in the asteroid belt became something more than a military engagement. It represented a turning point in human understanding of technological and biological potential. Preliminary reports suggested the Xanthari were experiencing similar transformative processes. Their withdrawal wasn't a defeat, it was a form of recalibration. The quantum communication streams suggested a civilization confronting the limitations of its own technological paradigm. We didn't just defend ourselves, Marcus told Elena during a private conversation. We offered an alternative way of existing. The quantum fragment discovered in the ruins of New Horizons colony had become humanity's most profound tool of exploration. What began as a remnant of total destruction was now a bridge between civilizations. As human research teams continued their analysis, a sense of profound possibility began to emerge. This was more than a technological breakthrough. This was the beginning of a new chapter in interstellar understanding. The universe, it seemed, was about to become a very different place. The Titan Research Facility stood as a testament to human innovation, its crystalline structures rising from the methane lakes of Saturn's largest moon. Here, the most advanced quantum integration experiments pushed the boundaries of human understanding. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked through the facility's central neural mapping chamber, surrounded by holographic displays that visualized the most complex experiment in human history. The quantum fragment technology had evolved far beyond its initial discovery, creating something that challenged every existing concept of consciousness and connectivity. Collective quantum resonance at 87.3%, announced Dr. Akira Nakamura, his fingers dancing across adaptive interface systems. Neural network synchronization exceeding all predictive models. 12 volunteers sat in carefully designed neural integration pods. Each represented a diverse cross-section of human experience: scientists, military personnel, artists, engineers. Connected through the quantum adaptive systems, they were exploring a form of consciousness that transcended individual perception. Captain Marcus Chen was at the center of the experiment. His enhanced neural capabilities made him the ideal bridge between individual consciousness and the emerging collective system. The quantum fragment technology had transformed him into something more than a traditional human, a living interface between individual and collective potential. It's not about losing individuality, Marcus explained during a pre-experiment briefing. It's about expanding our understanding of connection. The neural mapping displays began to shift, showing something unprecedented. The 12 participants weren't just sharing information. They were creating a dynamic, living network of consciousness. Thoughts, experiences, and perceptions flowed between them with a fluidity that defied traditional understanding of communication. Dr. Samira Khan monitored the biological systems. "We're observing something beyond telepathy," she reported. "This is a form of consciousness that exists between individual perception and collective understanding." The quantum fragment technology had become a bridge, not just between humans, but between different modes of experiencing reality. Each participant remained uniquely themselves while simultaneously becoming part of a larger, more complex system of awareness. Commander David Reyes watched from the observation deck, his military pragmatism wrestling with the profound implications of what they were witnessing. This was more than a technological experiment. This was a reimagining of human potential. As the experiment progressed, the neural networks began to demonstrate capabilities that went beyond any previous scientific understanding. The collective system could solve complex problems with an instantaneous, intuitive approach. Mathematical challenges that would take traditional computational systems years to resolve were being worked through in moments. "The collective is developing its own form of intelligence," Aker observed, his voice a mixture of excitement and scientific caution. "It's not just processing information. It's creating new understanding." The quantum fragment technology had transformed from a defensive system to a tool of collective exploration. Each participant remained uniquely themselves, but they were also part of something larger, a living, breathing network of collective consciousness. Belina watched the displays, understanding the profound implications. This was more than a scientific breakthrough. This was a fundamental reimagining of human potential. Unexpected discoveries emerged. The collective system began to generate insights that went beyond the individual knowledge of its participants. Mathematical theories formed spontaneously. Technological solutions appeared as complete, elegant concepts. Creative expressions emerged that blended the unique perspectives of multiple individuals. "We're not just sharing information," one of the participants reported through the neural interface. "We're creating something new, something that didn't exist before." The experiment continued for hours, then days. The participants showed no signs of fatigue or cognitive strain. The quantum fragment technology had created a sustainable, dynamic form of collective consciousness. As the experiment reached its peak, something extraordinary happened. The collective system began to generate quantum communication streams that extended beyond the research facility. Preliminary analysis suggested these streams were reaching out, creating potential communication channels that went beyond traditional technological limitations. "It's like we've discovered a new sense," Marcus reported, "not just of perception, but of connection." The 12 participants represented something more than a scientific experiment. They were pioneers of a new form of human potential. The quantum fragment discovered in the ruins of New Horizons colony had become a bridge to something extraordinary. As the neural displays pulsed with complex quantum patterns, humanity stood on the precipice of its most profound transformation. Something new was emerging, a form of consciousness that defied every previous understanding of human potential. The universe, it seemed, was about to be reimagined. The quantum communication chamber stretched across an entire section of the Centauri research outpost, a massive crystalline structure that seemed to breathe with living energy. Here, humanity would make its most profound statement to the universe. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood beside Captain Marcus Chen, their presence both familiar and fundamentally changed by the quantum fragment technology. The collective consciousness experiment had transformed them, not into something inhuman, but into something more profoundly human than ever before. "They're approaching," Marcus said, his perception extending far beyond traditional sensory limitations. The Xanthari vessels emerged from quantum space, their complex technological structures now bearing the subtle marks of the previous encounters, signs of a fundamental reconfiguration that had begun during their first interaction. The United Planetary Coordination had prepared for many scenarios: conflict, negotiation, potential annihilation. What was about to happen defied all of those expectations. Commander David Rice monitored the quantum communication systems, his military background now a subtle counterpoint to the more expansive approach humanity had developed. Dr. Samira Khan and Dr. Akira Nakamura worked in perfect synchronization, their understanding transcending individual expertise. Quantum resonance alignment initiating, Akira announced. The chamber hummed with an energy that was both technological and almost living. The Xanthari communication began not as a traditional transmission, but as a complex quantum information stream that unfolded like a multidimensional narrative. It wasn't a language in any traditional sense. It was an entire history, their civilization's journey, their understanding of existence, their fundamental approach to consciousness. And humanity responded in kind. The quantum fragment technology, born from the destruction of New Horizons colony, became a bridge of understanding. Humanity's response was not a simple message, but a profound sharing of experience. The collective consciousness experiment provided a depth of communication that went beyond words, beyond technology. They shared the story of their transformation, the moment of total destruction, the discovery in the ruins, the gradual understanding of the quantum fragment's potential, the evolution of their collective consciousness. The Xanthari received more than information. They received experience. "We're not offering peace," Marcus explained to Elena during a quiet moment. "We're offering understanding." The communication continued for what seemed like both an instant and an eternity. Traditional concepts of time became meaningless in the quantum communication space. Dr. Elena Rodriguez understood the profound nature of what was happening. This wasn't a negotiation. This wasn't a surrender. This was a fundamental reimagining of interstellar relationship. The Xanthari vessels began to change, not through weapons or traditional technological adaptation, but through understanding. The quantum communication stream carried with it the essence of human potential, the ability to transform, to adapt, to find potential in destruction. "They're receiving our entire narrative," Samira reported, her voice filled with a mixture of scientific excitement and profound wonder. "Not just our history, our potential." The collective consciousness created during the Titan Research Facility experiment became the primary communication channel. 12 human participants became a bridge between civilizations, their interconnected consciousness providing a depth of communication that transcended traditional diplomatic approaches. Humanity offered something the Xanthari had never encountered, a vision of existence that was simultaneously individual and collective, a way of being that saw potential in destruction, hope in challenge, connection in difference. The quantum fragment discovered in the ruins of New Horizons colony had become humanity's most profound tool of transformation. As the communication reached its peak, something extraordinary happened. The line between human and Xanthari began to blur. Not through conquest, not through destruction, but through understanding. "We're being offered a choice," Marcus said, his perception extending through the quantum communication stream. "Not to submit, not to conquer, but to understand." The Xanthari vessels began to reconfigure. Their technological systems showed signs of the same adaptive potential that humanity had discovered. The quantum fragment technology had created more than a bridge between civilizations. It had created a pathway to a new form of existence. Commander Rice looked at Elena, understanding dawning in his eyes. "This isn't an ending," he said quietly. "This is a beginning." As the quantum communication stream reached its conclusion, humanity and the Xanthari stood at the precipice of something extraordinary. The destruction of New Horizons colony, a moment that once represented total loss, had become the catalyst for humanity's most remarkable journey. The universe would never be the same.